Hi, my sisters. Welcome to Call for Wisdom. And today we're going to talk about a really, really big problem or issue that we modern sisters, modern women have been dealing with. And I keep on repeating it on my show. And that is about our understanding of biblical marriage and the word commitment, right? So just remember that I'm all about the Torah, Bible, and the Word of God. So not really about the cultural norms or what Western society says it is, or and all that. We go by what the Torah says and what the Torah, meaning the Bible, what it says and what standards Yah has put in place for us to follow. But the world is always in a conflict, always fighting against the truth, against our own culture as believers, right? And it goes so contrary, so contrary to society, to the world. They think they're liberal, but God, Yah is like trying to set his people apart. And you have to take a bold stand as a Christian, as a believing Torah observant woman to stand up for the truth. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of audacity. It takes a lot of sass to look somebody in the eye and say, I am going to stand on the truth. And I am not going to stand on tradition, but I'm going to build my foundation of my ideas of marriage and commitment on the truth, not on what's trending on TikTok, not what's common in my society, not what the state or the government is demanding from me, but the truth. Now, keeping that in mind, today we're talking about how do you define commitment, my sisters? Okay, so I'm talking to my sisters who are in a relationship or you just came out of a relationship, not the married ones. So, hi, married sisters. You're all cool. Stay there. Don't go nowhere. Be happy. Love up in your husband. Be nice. My sisters who are not married, the single ones, the ones that are young, these are the warnings for you. Just, listen and learn, listen and learn. If you're too young to get married, still listen and learn. I got some advice for you. Before you enter into a relationship, before you do anything, study the word of Yah and study the word and know the definition of terms, right? Don't go by what your girlfriends are talking about or what the society is talking about. So when a woman says to a man or says about a man that he is commitment phobic, that he doesn't want to get married, that he is afraid of committing to you, that he is unfaithful to you, I want you to sit back and think, what does that mean? Ask yourself, what does that mean? How does that look in reality? How does that show up? Okay. So I'm going to give you a story, and I know that you can relate to it. I don't even need to say it's a fictional story because it's not. There's so many girlfriends, so many women in my life that this story has applied to. And if you think it's you, it probably is you, right? So here's a typical story. You're probably 25 to, let's say, you are 30, 25 to 30 or 35, okay? Um, and you are a believing Christian, a Torah observant, maybe. Hopefully, you're following the Yah's words and his Sabbaths and his commands. But if not, you're a Christian. Okay. You go to church, you meet up with a nice man, sometimes on dating apps, sometimes at work. It doesn't matter where you meet him, you met him. This man, let's just give it a good spin. This man has some sort of fear of Yah in him, right? He calls himself a believer, a Christian, a godly man. You're like, okay, great. He checks number one. He hits you up, he flirts with you. You know, you go for a cup of tea because he invited you out for coffee and you're not against coffee dates. So, yeah, you check him out. You meet with some friends, maybe as a group. Maybe that's how you met him at a Bible study or at a social group after work. You meet up, right? Okay. Then he asks you for a dinner date. You're like, yeah, this is going somewhere. You talked to your girlfriends about it, didn't you? You tell them about how he's not so bad looking. He's he's tall, he's handsome, he has a job. Um, Other women like him, and he's looking at you, so you're kind of feeling special because he's giving you attention, right? Yeah, cool. You're following the same path as the worldly ladies. I get you. So far, now I'm going to put a pause here for my sisters who are younger. Don't just do it like that. Okay? Because you really should actually run this man even in the courting stages through your father, through your head. I know it's not popular, but welcome to Call for Wisdom. That's why you're here. You know what I'm standing for, my sisters. And if you're new, like, subscribe. I'm all about the Torah. I'm not following the trends of this world. It's not going to be so popular. I'm not expecting a big following on Call for Wisdom. But for now, this is what Yah has called me to do here. And I'm trying, by the grace of Most High, to convey what's on my heart to you. The very first steps, my sisters, to go back to the old ways, the traditional ways, are the ways that Yah set for us. We have to go back to our covers and run every man through, because the pickers, I like to call it, in traditional relationships is broken. Like, we women do not know how to pick men. And we never have, actually. We've never had. We think we do, but we run the man through our emotions, how we feel. And then sometimes we have a checklist, but it really doesn't matter if we have a checklist, because if the guy is hot, if he has enough sex appeal, if there's enough women that goes ooh over him, you know how many women would just, hop on that and forget it and not go through the list at all? Like, really, think about all the movie stars that you have had a secret crush on, or music stars, or, famous basketball players, or whoever you had a secret crush on. If that person just randomly saw you on your social media, which you should not be on Instagram posting pictures, productive pictures. But let's say somebody hits you up on your Instagram that you shouldn't be having, but fine, you're there. They hit you up and they message you and say, "Hey, you're so gorgeous. You're so beautiful. Can I go out for a date with you?" Would you run that by your father? Would you run that by your brother, by your uncle, by whoever it is that was your head? Or would you be tempted to just go for it, you know? Especially if he's paying for it and he's famous, and because we women, we tend to, we have this like little rebellious streak in us, and we think that we know better, and we think that we understand men, and we think that we can decipher or discern who's a good man, who's a bad man, because we think that we are experts in men. And we even run that through our single sisters. We would more tell them than to tell our fathers and their brothers about this person, okay? And then our single sisters will give you a whole bunch of bad advice, because when the heck did they know? Huh? And so here you go, in the rapid concession of bad decisions and choosing based on superficial nonsense. His outward appearance, his job, his status in life, and not the character of the man. Not yet. But before you know all that, you got the hormones built in us that Yah gave us, right? And you got the chemistry, and he smells good. He has a little bit of, he makes you laugh. He makes you laugh. Oh my goodness. And you see how the other girls, other ladies react around him. He's such a big status thing to have around. Like, the mere fact that this particular man is showing interest in you, you're like the envy of the your friends group. Everybody is like pushing you on. Oh girl, oh my goodness, really? And they're all excited about the stories you have to say and the imagination of your mind at nighttime. And you go on and on and on and on and on. Okay, great. So it leads to a dinner date. You have not yet checked it out with your father yet, but fine. Dinner date. And then one day, your next thing you know, it's you're watching a movie, you're watching something romantic, you're bored, he passes by, he's home with you. One thing leads to another, and you end up in the bedroom, right? We're talking about modern women here. My sisters, I don't care if you say that you are Yah believing, because you have biology called feminine biology, and he has testosterone, also a desire. And that is what really initiates the thrill, but without the barricade of a protection called a head, without the barricade around Eden, right? There's nothing stopping you from engaging in sexual sin. Should I say that? Sexual immorality, sex outside of marriage, outside of commitment, right? Now, I'm not here to preach to you sisters because it's just the reality of how it is in life, right? In modern day society, we have the hookup culture. We also have the watering down of sexual interactions. So having sex for pleasure is totally okay. It's actually very, I'm very politically incorrect right now, sitting here in YouTube talking to you about it. I'm sure I'm not going to get much on the algorithm. They don't like me for that. I mean, this is so contrary to what the world says. You're supposed to be totally okay with it, like scratching your back. Like, oh, I got an itch and he scratched it. Oh, I was really thirsty and he gave me a glass of champagne. I was really hungry, or he was really hungry and I gave him cookies. Right? Okay. So it was taken very casually. And all you know, next thing you know, you have connected with him for the first time. Okay, the first time you felt a little bit guilty, you repented, you went to the Most High. But the fact is, you got the hormones stirring up. The hormones are building up. The connection bonds of oxytocin has increased. And the biological DNA of the man is now in you, which we will talk about in another episode. Because today I'm talking about commitment, right? So you got this bonding mechanism that has been put in action through the semen of the man, brewing in you, making you crave him even more without any kind of, love is blind. It kind of sedates you to see his flaws, sedates you to see anything bad about him, and it's a little bit too late. It's like having this great bottle of champagne, and especially if you were a virgin, you went and popped it, right? And it's like overflowing. You can't take it back. The virginity is gone. The action has been done. You have now engaged with this man, and you are multiplying in your interest with him the more often you commit to him in terms of not commit, you engage with him in sexual interactions. Hmm. Okay. Now we're grown women here. A call for wisdom. Hopefully you are. You're all okay with those terminologies. So after a while, a couple months go by. This particular man, now you are wondering, is he going to say anything about commitment? Let's say 6 months go by. 6 months is like nothing. It goes so quickly by. 6 months of dating, of chatting every day, of calls every day, of all the interactions. You're becoming more attached to him. You like him. He likes you. Maybe even after 6 or maybe 8 months, somebody slips up. Most likely, maybe him. And he says, I love you. Those three words, right? And you're like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, he loves me. Yeah. And then eventually, maybe at the same time or a little bit later on, you say you love him back. Okay, cool. Again, you have not passed that by your father, but you should have. You have not. Have you sat down and had any kind of, you know, questions asked and discussions asked with your head? Do you have a head over you? Probably don't. But if you did do that, then kudos to you. But you should have had your father really involved in this interaction way before you even had sex. You shouldn't have had sex. But anyway, let's say you did, because most modern women, that's what we do. Okay. So now, through the months that they go by, go by, go by, it's 8 months, 9 months, heading towards a year, 12 months. You are wondering, when is this Yah fearing man going to commit to me? And my question today is, what do you mean by commitment? Okay. What do you want? And now you're going to tell me, and I hear you. You say, well, obviously, I mean marriage. Obviously, I'm saying he needs to go on his hands and knees and propose to me in a monogamous way. That's the number one thing. I want an engagement. This is what married, I'm going to tell you the 10 things that women want when they say they're looking for commitment from a man. And this is based on my observation as a counselor. Our definition of commitment is convolutedly very long. So when a woman tells me they've been with the man for a year or for 10 years and he is not committed, I like to ask my sisters, what do you mean by he's not committed? And remember, they're still in relationship with him, so he hasn't gone anywhere. they're still sleeping with him. There's sometimes they're still living with him. And they're asking me like he's not committing. So, this is what modern women, modern Western women believe commitment is. And tell me if I'm wrong, okay? If I'm wrong, my sisters in the chats, and I'm speaking to my sisters, just put it in there and say, Deborah, I kind of disagree with this particular point. But let's say number one, in the modern woman's definition of commitment, it looks like this: a marriage certificate, right? Engagement and a marriage certificate. You want this man to propose to you, preferably with a nice ring, and you eventually want to go down to the courthouse and sign some papers and get a paper called a state license marriage certificate. Unless the state is involved in this covenant you're making with the man as the third party, so really it's polygynous because you have you, him, and the state involved in this so called covenant. Unless there is a state involved, the modern Western woman does not see the man as being committed to you. Tell me I'm wrong. I think I'm right, right? So, commitment to us means certificate of marriage. The next thing, there's a lot more. It's not just that, okay? And it doesn't mean that it has to happen right away, but he bloody hell should be talking about it right away for you and then setting a date for it. Number 2, the man has to forsake all others and pledge to be faithful to you only. It is a commitment to a monogamous only life for the man, right? Not for you, because you are sure has to be committed to him only. But when you're saying that this man, your partner or your boyfriend, whatever terminology you currently use for him, is not committed, you mean that he is not faithful to you only, correct? Because commitment to the modern Western woman means monogamy. So if a man has been showing to you that he has love interest, maybe you're not the first. Maybe when he met you, he was actually seeing another woman. Maybe he was married. Maybe he had an ex that he has not forgotten about and a baby mama that he's still taking care of that he gets something on the side with. You're not the only one. And so for you right now, you want to be the only one. And unless he drops all others, you consider yourself in a non committal relationship, right? And you keep on saying, oh, woe is me, woe is me. Something's wrong with this relationship because the man is not he's not monogamous. He has interests, he has eyes for another woman, he keeps on flirting with other women, he keeps on, sweet talking other women, he keeps on seeing other women, he is telling me that he likes other women, and I think he loves them even more than me because I am now going to judge myself by the other women in his life. And unless he can commit to me only, mind you, in this scenario, I'm telling you that you already slept with the man, right? You've already opened the bottle and you're saying to me, well, I want to see commitment, and commitment means he has to drop all others and me only. And you learned that from the tradition of monogamy brought to us complementaries of the Catholic Church and the Roman culture way back when. It is not biblical, monogamy only, but that is what we've been indoctrinated with. And because of that false doctrine, there's this huge elephant in the room called the state marriage license and the fact that he has to be solely monogamous. The third point is that the majority of his time and resources should be put towards building with you, and he's not allowed to share the resources with any other woman. That is what we see as commitment. So if he is not putting his priority, his mission on you, if you are not the sole center of his mission, you do not think he's committed. If he thinks that he wants to also build a house for his baby mama and he wants to save money to get a second wife or a second woman, you do not think that he is committed to you. Because again, monogamy only requires his whole dedication to be towards you. And the fourth point, you want to be equal partners in this relationship because commitment means equality to the modern woman. He has to have a sense of sharing of responsibilities, but no authority. No authority, no. Every major decision that you all make has to be something that is negotiated equally, each side heard, and ultimately there's a vote, kind of thing like that. And if you do not feel heard, he doesn't love me because I'm not feeling heard. And feeling heard means ultimately he has to do what you want to do. Whatever it is, he has to do it. And if he's not doing it, he has not yet felt you. He's not felt you. He's not empathetic towards you. Because if he understood how I felt, if he really knew how I felt about this, he would change his mind and do something else, right? Because he's not committed to me. Because if he really was committed to me, he would follow me. Now, do you see how that is in the reverse? Because if you, as a woman, are committed to the husband, to the man, you follow the man. If you're committed to the shepherd, you follow the shepherd. If you're committed to Yeshua, you follow Yeshua because he's the head over you. But there's no equality in the biblical marriage. But in the secular world, it means equality. Women want equality, they want partnership, and they want the man to commit to that kind of relationship, right? So, the fifth point is that you want him to promise to provide financially and to protect you as part of your commitment, like I said. However, submission is conditional. Mhm. If he insists on having his own way, he will be accused of being controlling and narcissistic, right? As soon as you start complaining about that, you're trying to make him sign up for this. It becomes very hard for a man to agree. As soon as he starts complaining about not meeting your needs, like if you start complaining that he's not meeting your needs and you're not meeting his needs either domestically, you're not cooking, cleaning, you're not taking care of him, or maybe you are, but you're complaining doing that because you're saying, I'm just your wife, I'm not your maid, I'm not your mama. Mhm. But you expect him to be your provider and your protector. And you're not even married yet. And you guys are smashing, arguing all the time about the power play between it. You expect him to be okay with that. You expect him to, you know, accept you as you are. You don't need to submit. Absolutely not. But he has to commit. You don't need to submit, but he has to commit. Because commitment to a modern woman does not require any submission. Not at all. So then you need to still hold on to your independence. And that's the sixth point. So a modern woman's definition of commitment that man is committing to her means that she can still be independent. You can still be independent. You can still go on your girls' night out. You can still have your best friends, the ones that he doesn't like you hanging out with, all those single girls that are bad influence he says on you, and he's telling you to leave them, and you say, no way, my faithfulness is still to them first. They were there before you. Those girls were there in my life before I even knew you, so I'm not dropping them for you. No way. I am independent. I'm going to stay that way, even if I am in a relationship with you. But I want you to commit. So for modern women, not only is a commitment being no, I don't necessarily need to submit to you, but I also don't need to give up my independence. So I want the man to commit to me. I want him to commit to me, but I do not need to commit to him. I can be independent of him while I'm still committed to him committing to me. You see the dilemma here? This is what men are facing right now. All these hidden meanings of the word commitment that modern women have behind our minds. So the term independence means I can still do whatever I darn well feel like, whenever I feel like it. I can wear whatever clothes I want to wear, right? So I'm asking the man to commit to me. But if I want to wear a sexy outfit and go out on Friday night and advertise myself like I'm single so that I can get the attention and the praise and the admiration of other men, that's okay. I have a right to do that. It doesn't matter if I'm married. It doesn't matter if I have a shepherd, but I want him to commit. And I want him to commit his eyes to me only too. Eyes to stay focused, stay focused. Don't no, don't look at that woman over there. Look at me only. Whereas at the same time I'm dressing provocatively. Look at the hypocrisy. At the same time, I don't want him to tell me, don't wear these here, the wigs, don't wear the makeup, don't wear the eyelashes. Because if he tells me how to dress and how to present myself, he is being controlling. Yet I want him to commit to me. You see, our definition of commitment means still I want to be independent at the same time. That is a convoluted definition, but this is what we mean. We don't want a man to tell us when to go out, where to go out to. We want to have secret passwords on our phone because how dare he read my phone? It's my privacy. I want to wear whatever I want to wear. I want to present myself in the world to represent me, not him. Now, think of it this way, my sisters. The irony of it is that when a woman, supposedly in modern monogamy only societies, when we get married, right, we say that we take on the name of the man. This is what we say. So if your last name was Bell, now your last name is Jones, you're Mrs. Jones. Congratulations, Mrs. Jones. But I want to walk around in the world represented by my past, my independent self. I want to be able to say that I'm free to still be me, right? And so I wear the uniform of my past. I don't change anything about me. I don't want to change anything about me, but I represent my husband. And so this is the irony of the man. It's like, you want to take on my name? My name is Jones. And you're advertising yourself as the wife of Jones, but this is not me. The man is saying, this is not me. I want you to be conservative politically. I want you to be moderate. I want you to be modest. I want you to eliminate, I want you to represent the company, the household, the mission, who I am, and wear the uniform accordingly. You're not a harlot, so don't dress like a harlot. I want you to behave in a manner that makes me proud. That when somebody sees you, they see me, right? And you represent. Because you are no longer independent, you take on my name. Now, this is a very biblical concept. Look at Yeshua. Yeshua says, "If you love me, you keep my commandments." And then and the Most High said, "Don't use in the commandments, the 10 Commandments. Don't use the name of the Lord in vain, the name of Yah in vain." So you walk around with Yah's name and we represent Him on this earth. If I call myself a believer, and then I walk around like a 304, then I am putting shame on the name. If I call myself the wife of so and so and I walk around like the wife of somebody else, then I'm not representing the man I'm married to. And so we cannot have it both ways. But modern women, we want to have it both ways. We want the man to commit to us. We want the man to give us his protection. Mhm. We want the man to cover us. We even want his name because it sounds nice to call yourself married. It sounds nice to say, "Yeah, I have a new name now. My name is Mrs. Jones." And you can boast to your friends that you have a new name and blah, blah, blah. Sounds nice. But in reality, you act like independent. You act like nothing has changed. And so, this kind of commitment, does that sound appealing to a man? I don't think so. But moving on, you plan on leaving. And that's the whole thing. You want the man to commit to you, but you want to have an open back door. The door, your exit door is right there, and he sees it. There's always a way of escape for you, especially in a modern day society. And the men know that. So when you say a man doesn't want to commit to you, and at the same time, you see the exit door and he sees the exit door, I'm wondering to myself, who is the one who's not committing? Is it him or is it you? Because how many times have you threatened to leave this relationship anyway? How many times have you given him an ultimatum anyway? You said to him that unless he does all that I listed above, especially the number one thing is to go to the court and sign a document called a marriage certificate and walk you down the aisle and have that wonderful party and the big ring, then you're going to leave in 6 months. So then you're showing, see, if you don't do what I want, then I'm going to walk out. And you're not a prisoner, my sisters. I'm not saying you're a prisoner because no, you're not. You can leave. But is that a commitment on your part? Are you committing? Are you faithful? And that's really what the word commitment we're talking about is faithfulness. Are you faithful to Him? Do you have it in you? Or are you looking behind you all the time? Looking behind you, regretting, like, I don't really want to follow this man. I don't want to submit to this man. He is a flirt. He's not going to be dumping all the other women for me. That's not enough. I want him all to myself. If he doesn't change his terrible ways, I'm out of here. And I'm looking at that exit door right behind me and I'm going to take it. And I keep on threatening him about it. I keep on threatening him. And when the man hears you constantly threatening him that you're going to leave in so many words, not directly, but in so many physical words and in sarcastic ways and in manipulative, crying ways, then he knows that his relationship with you is on a very unstable ground. The foundation is not good. So why would he commit to that? Why would he? Because anytime you get mad, especially if you got what you wanted in the first, if you got the marriage certificate and he decides to take on another woman, you're out the door. And not only are you out the door, you're out the door with the kids, you're out the door with half his assets, you're out the door with his wealth, he has alimony for life, you're set. What is it there for him? There's only risk. There's only risk. There's nothing in him for him if you decide to leave, and more damage. And all we can say is that, oh, I want the man to commit to gambling with you, to take a gamble on you when you've already threatened to leave him so many times in so many ways, when you're argumentative and complaining all the time and you can't follow his lead and you can't submit, when you haven't even healed from your own past trauma from other men because you mingled that out in this current relationship anyway. And now you're mad because 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months has passed and you say the man doesn't want to commit. So what you mean by committing is that he's not accepting this whole list I'm giving you here. And the last one is that the risk of you actually finally getting what you want with marriage certificate, right? But he has to commit to that. But he also has to take on the fact that as soon as you do that, voila, now you are in control, my sisters. Because now you control sex. You control sex before, but now you sure do after you get married. You control sex even more. Now you can say you have a headache. Now I don't feel like it. Where's he going? Huh? Now the restaurant is closed. Where is he going? You think you have control. And so a lot of women start using the sexual powers they have to punish a man for behaviors within the relationship. Before they actually had the marriage certificate, they were more willing to sleep with him. But as soon as they got the marriage certificate, all of a sudden now they play games with the man. They start shaming him for his sexual urges and for his testosterone that makes him want to spread seeds because he's a farmer. And now you start shaming him for his desire to have another woman because you obviously can't meet the capacity that he has. And then you start thinking that you're not enough and you start complaining about it. And you shut the door to him on many occasions, and to the point that you probably naturally will not want to have sex every part of the month. If you're fertile once a month, there's some parts of times when you can't biblically either. And then there's pregnancy, and you can't either. And then there's menopause, and you're getting older and you want it less frequently anyway. And the man has to put up with all that because the modern commitment means monogamy only, remember? So the man can't go seeking out any other woman for the sexual desires that he will need and still have to be met all through his old age, especially if he's healthy. That won't stop, but you might stop and you might be inconsistent. So he has to commit to stay faithful to you through all this uncertainty of inconsistency. Actually, it's actually very much certain that you will be inconsistent in providing what he needs physically because you cannot meet his needs. And then when you get older, he'll have to just be celibate with you. Doesn't matter what you do. At a certain age, women just we don't want it as much as the man does, and there we go. Here we go. They'll have to just follow along with you, and you have that power. So when you're saying a man doesn't want to commit, he doesn't want to commit to the list that I just gave you of all these things. He doesn't want it, and I don't want it either. And do you blame him? Let's be honest. Would you blame him for that kind of behavior, that kind of understanding of commitments? Now, nobody really sits down and goes through this list. When we have these conversations with the man or with your boyfriend, You shouldn't be. Well, I hate the word boyfriend because he's not a boy and you're not a woman. You're not a girl. You're a woman. So you have a man and you're a woman. And when you start complaining as a woman that the man doesn't want to commit to you, the number one thing you have to do is ask, did you run him through your father? Okay. I'm not going to skip and bypass that step. Did he get approval from his father? Because if your father said no to that relationship, you shouldn't even be in it. If he was not approving of it and didn't give the guy the permission to be courting you or his blessing, you shouldn't be in this relationship with this man anyway. But let's say that you forgot all that. You should still try to correct this. But when I hear women say the man is not committed and you've been with the same man for 7, 8 years, 5 years, 6 years, a couple years, he is not gone anywhere. He still provides for you, he takes care of you, you're still living together. What do you mean by commitment? Right? What do you mean? You mean he doesn't want a marriage certificate? Is that what you mean? To be honest, he doesn't want a marriage certificate. Does that mean he doesn't love you? Are you saying that unless you get a state license, the man doesn't love you? Unless he agrees to sacrifice his whole future on the altar of the state's demands, does that mean he doesn't love you? Unless he commits to monogamy only, does that mean he's not committed to you? Is it possible for a man to love more than one woman at the same time? And if you think that it's not, then ask yourself, if, especially you single mamas with more than one children, are are you able to love more children? Are you able to, when you had the first one and you, oh my gosh, I got pregnant with the second, did you love them both or did you divorce the first? Obviously, you love them both, right? You know that in our human capacity, I have siblings, I'm able to love all my siblings. I have friends, I'm able to love all my friends. I have colleagues, I'm able to love my colleagues. Obviously, we are able to have individual attachments to other people and to love them in different ways, and they hold different parts in our lives and places in our lives, and we love them. So a man can love more than one woman at the same time. And what he means by commitment, what you mean by commitment needs to be thought of. Please meditate on it. Because if you're thinking that it means I have to go down and get a safe certificate, and you are fighting with that man all the time about that, holding him hostage, making him feel shame, making him feel like he has wasted your time because he refuses to go to the state for permission to take on a woman, because he refuses to go to the court and sign his life away to all the state requirements and put himself at risk. That is all. This is not biblically requirement at all. There's nothing in the Bible about needing to get a state certificate. Adam and Eve didn't need a state certificate. Find me one scripture that says that they need a state certificate in the Bible. Find it, put it in the comments, hit like and subscribe. If you think that that is a requirement for marriage, find it for me. Find the scripture, because there isn't none. There's not one. There is the thing about honoring your father and mother. You should definitely run it through them. You should be under a covering anyway as a woman, because you go from your father's house and to your husband's house. You go from your father's authority or your head, brother, whoever it is in your life, and you go to your husband's house and they should give permission, right? And that's where it comes with the dowry, with the bride price. That's where he doesn't have to pay one, but if the father wants one, it's negotiated between the men, and it's also the men that actually evaluate men. Men evaluating men is very much the way to go, the safe way to go. Because just like you and I are women and we can more evaluate women, I can see when women are fooling me. I can see the tricks that women have a lot better because I'm a woman. But when it comes to men, I'm not a man. And men read men a lot better. And so when a father invests in screening a husband for you, I rather trust his judgment than your emotional thrill, than your hormones. You should always run the man through your husband, through your father, and wait for him to get permission. And that is why you're stuck anyway, because had you started with that first point of running him through the cover of your father, you probably wouldn't been in this predicament anyway, because fathers demand the men commit to you. And what does it mean to biblically commit? Well, we will talk about that next. We're going to talk about faithfulness. We're going to talk about commitment. And there's a very similarity between the biblical definition of faithfulness and the biblical definition of commitment that goes contrary to what the world is saying. But this is just an introduction. Follow me the next episode. We're going to go into the Bible about that. But right now, I just wanted to ask you, how do you define commitment yourself? What do you think about it? You know, and put it in the comment section. How do you think of it? What do you think commitment means? Does it mean a marriage certificate to you? Or does it mean something else? What does that look like when you're saying you want the man to commit to you? Again, I'm talking to the single women, right? The ones that know. If you know, you know. But yeah.
Unsure people to be around me. Unsure people cause a lot of confusion and it wastes a lot of your time. And I'm at a point in my life where I know exactly what I want. There's no room for confusion for me no more. We not getting no younger. We getting older. I don't got time for people to come up to me and they unsure about wanting a relationship with me, whether it's family wise, friends wise, relationship wise. I don't have time for unsure people to be around me. Unsure people cause a lot of confusion and it wastes a lot of your time. You waste a lot of giving your love to these people that don't even deserve it. I'm at a point in my life where you're going to come to this table with 50 and I got the other 50 to make us 100. If not, don't even stop at this bus stop because you will not get picked up. I'm going to leave you right where you at. And let me tell you this, if you're going to come in my life, know what you want out of me in life, whether you want it, whether it's receiving love from me, wanting a relationship, a friendship with me, wanting a relationship with me. Other than that, if you don't know what you want, don't come around me being unsure. Don't come around me laying all these problems on me. Don't come around me giving me all this emotional distress and you don't even know if you're going to stay around. I don't got time for unsure people. And if you don't know, matter of fact, if you feeling unsure about me in any shape, way, or form, stay right where you at because I cut you off before you cut me off. And I'm at a point in my life where
And do you hear that? I sure you hear that from many other people, but unsure. Like you want the man right away to be sure that he wants to commit to you, right? This is what she means. And it's again, we're saying all kinds of stuff to get around the word marriage, biblical marriage. All women want to get married. I don't care what you all say. Majority of women in relationships, they don't want to hook up. They don't want a casual sex. They want marriage. They want commitment. But what does commitment mean? What does commitment from a man mean? What are you looking for? Let me know in the comments, please. Let me know. Let's see another one here. You can find that here. Ah,
About married, I don't see a lot of upside in marriage. Like I could see, I mean, for a rich guy to get married, it's kind of a negative free roll. It's almost like you're betting half your net worth. You're gonna love one girl forever. Like I think it's it's a pretty big bet, and I don't think there's a big payoff on the other side of it because it's not like you have to get married to stay with her. Like two people can be together without getting the government's permission, and so if
mhm.
you're having kids and you're not successful, I get it. It makes sense. Or if you've just had, a partner for a long time and you trust her and she's just your fucking person, then okay. But I think when you're 43 years old and you're successful and you're out there dating, I don't know. I mean, what's the upside?
Why there's a lot of good lawyers. Yeah, he's called.
I mean, there are,
in the
but
right state, and
but you're not going to make any
well.
money doing it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a business decision. If you look at it like, you can only lose money and you can't
Sure.
make money, and gambling, we call that a negative free roll. I'm about married. I don't.
Yeah, if you're really looking for a monogamy only state certificate kind of marriage, then for a man it is a gambling three-year-old. He's not making any money from this, and he doesn't need it to be your man. And that's the whole point. Follow me next episode. We're going to talk about the definition of faithfulness and commitment and what does biblical marriage mean. I'm never going to get tired of this topic because it is amply important for my sisters, you and I, to understand this right now in this day and age. We have to get a grip of it. We have to drop those society's norms and brainwashing and settle with what the word says and then put ourselves in alignment with the word, right? If you're off track, get yourself back on track. Put yourself in alignment. And the thing about it is that when we put ourselves in alignment with the word, in alignment with the Torah, and going back to the ancient ways, then there is a lot of liberty. There's a lot of freedom. These artificial definitions are bondage. These things are putting a lot of stress, a lot of self-doubt. Now you're going to think about he doesn't love me, nobody loves me, nobody wants to commit anymore. And meanwhile, a lot of you are actually committed. But again, the definition is all screwed up. So there we go. Welcome to Cultural Wisdom again. Thank you for hanging out with me. Please leave a like, subscribe, and share it if you dare. Take care, my sisters. Love you all.